Today we'll have a look at a pen from a brand that I have never reviewed before, and to be honest I didn't even know they existed. The pen was lent to me by Catherine from the Sakura Fountain Pen Gallery in Belgium. So this one will be going back to her, and the brand is Eboya. Eboya is made in Tokyo, that's what it says in the box. And this is an expensive handmade Japanese fountain pen. So what I'm going to do is I'll cover the parts of the pen and tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Okay, now just so you know, this pen comes with a data card, which gives you some details on it. This is the Kyouka style. It has cartridge converter, but there are other apparently interesting filling systems as well, because there's also boxes for ink shutoff and button filler. It is the it is the Leafy Wind green body color, and it is the medium 14K nib. So that's your data card. It has a bit of information on the back side as well. Okay, Eboya, underwhelming box, very simple. You know, some people really like that. In there is yet another piece of paper. Filling instructions. They seem to like Waterman ink, given the shape of that bottle, and warranty, etc. Nothing wrong with Waterman. Good. Okay, out comes the pen. There is a little pen sleeve. There is a cartridge, well, it's just some paper. And here is the pen. A fat one. It's a fat pen, and this is the, as I said, the large, because it's ticked here. There is the small, medium, and large style. This is the large. Alright. The parts of the pen. Well, it's all ebonite. It's handmade, which of course partially explains the high price. This pen costs 590 euros here, so that is an expensive one. Let's start at the top of the cap. Alright. No details, nothing fancy, just all ebonite. Then you have the cap, small, relatively small cap, I would say, if you consider the size of the rest of the body. You have sort of knurling here for grip. Then you have the pen barrel, which has only one feature on it. Let me just, actually align that properly. It says Eboya made in Tokyo. It's a blind engraving, so it's not filled with anything. You can see it right there. It's a little hard to make that catch the light. And then there is this weird stubby thing at the end, and more knurling. The knurling, of course, serves the purpose of being able to hold it, because you need to unscrew this pen, and the cap has no features. It has no clip or anything that you can really hold on to, so this does help in unscrewing the whole thing. And then you can post it, and posting does not go all the way to the bottom of the barrel. You can see that here, you have that little gap. Now you can push it down all the way, and I very, very carefully try to do that. I'm not going to repeat that. Ebonite has a tendency to crack, and you really need to exert some force. So I think this pen is designed to leave a gap there, aesthetics or something. Then we have a section. Now this section, that is a serious section. It's a fairly chubby pen to begin with. You have the threads there, and then you have this very mild hourglass shape, and then you have a nib. Now this nib, believe it or not, that's a number 6 nib. I know it looks small on this, but it is a number 6, and it's a gold nib. And then you have the feed. Okay, this pen, I'm just unscrewing the barrel here, is filled by a converter, in this case Faber-Castell, but I seem to recall that Catherine said that they supply you with a converter, in this case Faber-Castell. Apparently it fits, right? And there you have it. So this is what the section looks like when it is disassembled from the barrel. Okay, in hand, it's a stocky pen, so it's very fat, but it's by no means particularly tall or anything. But it's definitely big enough to be used unpostedly. So here, I mean, you can, as I said, you can post it, then it becomes really large. I think this one is more pleasant to use unposted, like this. Let's talk a little bit about the nib. The nib performed very well. Very good performance, well tuned. It's a simple nib. As you can see, Eboya didn't really do anything to it. It has a little goat type animal on there, so one would think it's a Bock nib. Gold, not rebranded, nothing is added, but it's just a simple nib. Bock makes good nibs, and that's what you get. You get a nib that flows well, that does not really skip, that just works, so no complaints there. So what do I like about the pen, and what do I not like about the pen? Well, there are a few things I like. Green mottled ebonite, always fun. It's a very interesting material. If you've ever held it, you know what I mean. I don't mean green mottled, but I mean ebonite in general. When it's polished well, it's very smooth, and it feels very different from, say, plastic or other materials. Very smooth, very pleasant to the touch. I like that. I like the nib. This is an expensive pen, but it performs, and I have seen a lot of pens that are expensive and that just don't. So in that regard, I'm quite impressed by how the pen writes, and that it writes, which this day and age I think is already quite impressive. The shape of the pen is not for everyone, and I'm slipping into things here that I don't like so much. It's quite thick and stocky. It also has no features on it, really, to stop it from rolling off the desk. I mean, this will roll. That knurling does a little bit there, but really not that much, I found. So, it will definitely roll. But I think that is what this is. This is like the other pen I reviewed from the Sakura gallery, the Bo Sakura Gawa by Manu Proprian. These are not really user pens. These are pens that you put on a desk in a nice stand to look cool. And that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think these are pens that are supposed to be pieces of art that have a lot of manufacturing go into them and are not necessarily users. And you see that in this section too. I mean, I found it surprisingly comfortable, but it's really thick. And I can definitely see how people with smaller hands would have issues with this and would definitely feel fatigue after using this. It is ebonite, it's not rubberized, it's not squishy, it's very hard. It's smooth. I don't feel any sharp edges or corners on this pen. It's clearly very well made, but it's big, thick, girthy. The final thing that I did not really like is this posting. I would like to see this either make it smooth, so the cap will just slide on without issues, or just not have it post. But this, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't find this aesthetically very pleasing, that weird gap. So I'm not sure about that. Okay, having said that, I like the general pen. One thing that I did notice is that knurling is very interesting. The only problem is, because this is such a featureless pen, I mean, from a distance here, it's hard to see where the cap ends and where the pen begins. So it's very easy to think, oh, okay, I'm going to uncap this pen, and then you end up with the barrel in your hands. Okay, this happens. And that knurling does help, but the knurling is actually on the section and not on the cap. So I found it tempting to think, okay, I'm going to hold that with this hand, then unscrew, and then the whole cap section, etc. comes off. I wonder if it would not have been more sensible to put that knurling on the cap, so that you actually unscrew that. But maybe that's just me. Of course, there's also this knurling at the end of the barrel, which you can see there. So maybe they chose this for an aesthetic purpose. Okay, finally, $5.90, that's a lot of money, so I don't know if I would buy this pen at such a price. But if you are looking for a handmade pen, clearly very well made, and it writes pleasantly, then I can see how this would appeal to people. You know, it's a piece of art that you're buying, handmade, etc. And that probably explains the price. So, I thank the Sakura Pen Gallery for lending me this pen. I appreciate it. I will show you guys a writing sample next. Measurements of the pen will be on the website, as are high resolution pictures, as always taken by Gourmet Pens. And that's all there's to it. So go to the website, check it out there, but first a writing sample. I hope this was useful so far, and I'm glad to see you later. Bye bye. Okay, here we go with the Eboya I'm not entirely sure whether this is Kyouka or Kyouka, to be honest, but in any case, this is the large with a medium nib, and the ink is Mont Blanc Irish. Green. The nib is pleasant. It is not a silky smooth nib. It has a little bit of feedback, but I don't find it an unpleasant feedback. It is not scratchy. It's just you notice that you are using a fountain pen. A bit of fast writing. You notice there are some skips here and there, but I wouldn't say that is horrible. Wetness, it's a fairly wet pen, and you can squeeze out a bit of line variation, but it is definitely not a flex nib. For those of you who enjoy such things, reverse writing, a lot more scratchy, but you go from a medium to a good fine, I would say. And that's pretty much all there's to it. So, thanks again to the Sakura Fountain Pen Gallery for lending me this pen. I appreciate it. Hope the review was useful, and I'll gladly see you later.